Hi guys, this is Kushal Kumar and this is part 5 of my C programming language tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be talking about input and output in C, and we'll be covering all of this throughout the tutorial. So let's get started. So first thing is, how does input and output happen? When you give some input to a program, it gets saved into the memory, and when something is outputted on the screen, it is taken from the memory where it was saved and displayed on the console window. So input and output functions are included in the input-output library, which is stdio.h, where this input-output library is standard input-output library, and standard input stands for keyboard and standard output stands for screen. So that's how input and output occurs in C. So let's talk about input first. The way you take input from a user in C is done by using a special function called scanf, and for taking the input you would use the scanf function something like this. Write scanf, then format specifier, and then address of variable. Format specifier I told you about before, and I'll leave the link of that video in the description below. So you have to write the format specifier of the type of variable that you want to take the input of from the user, and here you will write the address of variable. For address of variable, address operator is used. This is the address operator and it's called ampersand. So let's see how scanf works. What you have to do is declare a variable, let's call it var, and then write something like this, and inside this you will write the format specifier %d for int, and then you will write the name of the variable, which is var in this case. But before this you will use this operator. This is called address operator, and it will point to the address of this variable so that the value that is inputted by the user will be saved on the memory location which this variable holds. So now let's build it. As you can see, build finished with no error. Run it and give the value like this, 12. And this 12 will now be saved on the memory location of this variable called var. So instead of int, you could use float here and write f here, because for a float data type, %f is the format specifier. So you could use all of these here, and let's run it. Give the float value. You could also write char here and write c here. Build it, run it, give some character. Now this e will be saved at the memory location of this variable. Now let's see how you could give a string to this variable. In order to declare a string, you will write char here, then var, and then these two brackets, and in these two brackets you will give the length that you want your string to have, like 8, and run it. You can give any string. This is a character array, and we will talk about array later. For now, just remember that this is how it's done. So let's see how white spaces work in this scanf function. So let's see you have two values to give, and what you decide to do is intentionally or unintentionally give some space between these two format specifiers. Put ampersand here. Now if you build it and then run it, you can give two characters, either giving the first one and then hitting the enter button and then giving the second one, or what you could do is give the first, put in any number of spaces or tab, or by clicking on the enter like this and then tabs or spaces, and then give the second one. It will give the same result. It will not count any of this. It will only see this one and then ignore rest of this and then see the next one. So these two things are important. So as I told you in the last tutorial, these are the delimiters, and what you can do is use these delimiters like comma here, and then what you can do is give the comma here also. And what will happen is the scanf function will ignore this comma here, and after comma it will take 23 as the next value. So you can also use delimiters here. So in C, to throw output on the screen, what you have to do is use printf function, and for printf you have to give the format specifier and plus the text if you like, it's optional, and then the variable name. So ampersand is not used here, it's only used in case of printf. This is very important to remember because most of the errors come because of this. It can be used without specifier for plain text. What you can do is just print out simple text on the screen instead of using a format specifier for outputting a variable value. So let's see how it works. Let's create an integer variable and let the user, but before this let's write something on the screen like enter the value, like this, and then give it the variable name here, and after that print it on the screen writing, I'm sorry for the noise, this is my dog sleeping here. So yeah, write %d here and then num. Now build it and see what happens. Oh, I missed the ampersand sign here. Now build it and see what happens here. So enter the value. Now you enter the value, which could be anything, 56, and press the enter button and you will see you get the 56 printed out on the screen. You could also do something like write your number was, and if you put the number here you will get the output as your number was 34. So one more thing, so don't do something like this, adding more than one format specifier. As you will see, when you enter your value it will ask for one more value, and since it is asking for one more value, there is no variable where that value could be stored. Now enter it and you will see the second one was worthless. But if you write the one extra format specifier here and run it, you will get something like this. So which is not what we have entered. We wanted 34 to come out, but it didn't. If you remove this also and now run it, put 23 here, you're getting the wrong output. So that's one thing you should be careful about. So in order to print out some special characters on the screen, which are in this case this one more quote. Now if you build it you will get an error, but what you can do is put an escape character here and then build it, there will be no error and you will get this as output. So there are some characters like single quote, double quote and backward slash. So instead of double quote you could write single quote like this, build it and run it, you will get the same, and you could give one more backslash and then run it. So you see, that's how you print these special characters on the screen. So I hope you liked the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to get notified about my new videos as I upload. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.